Hey, how's it going?
How nervous do I make you when I'm walking around for the entire minute that we're doing this thing?
I'm a little bit nervous, but I know that you are a professional and you know to be on camera when it's time.
And unmuted.
Let's just say that's true. What are you drinking? You got a little
Well,
ginger ale?
that's a 7 Up, and it's going in this glass that has a giant ice cube
Yeah,
and some um, bourbon. Bourbon? Is Maker's Mark bourbon?
I believe it is.
Yeah, cheap stuff. And
No,
it's
Maker's
only
Mark is like middle.
okay. Thank you.
It gets way worse than Maker's Mark.
It probably does.
Yeah.
Um, and
High
it's
School
only
John is pretty sure Maker's Mark is not the worst stuff.
okay. So it's only about it was half Maker's Mark and then half Corbel brandy.
Hmm.
Because I think I emptied the Makers,
Oh,
so that's what I had.
got it.
It's what I had. So I did try turning my microphone up a little bit today. I think my
Nice.
gain. I tried getting some more sick gains.
Oh, you got that sick gain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope it's better, but I don't know. It's been bad lately.
I'm like a little bit away from the
It's-
microphone, so that
Yeah.
maybe that'll help too.
Even it out. Wouldn't it be great if that button that says that checkbox that says automatically balance or auto level microphone actually did something?
Yeah.
It would be great, but it doesn't. What are you drinking? Anything?
Oh, you know me. I got a little bullet rye.
Just that. Nothing with it.
Well, I put it over some ice.
Don't you get heartburn? Do
No,
you get
I
heartburn?
take two
Is that a thing?
I take two Prilosec a day.
For real? Or are you just being
The
funny?
the Allen stomach burns with the fire of 1,000 suns, and so if I don't take two Prilosec a day, I can't eat anything really besides like crackers.
The what stomach?
Allen. So this is my mom's mom.
Got it. Thank you.
My great
I think that's a
grandmother.
security question. Answer to a security question that you just gave
Oh
us.
man.
For once, it's not me.
Yeah. Hey, did you ever scrub your database credentials?
No. Yeah, I did. In the sense that I deleted that 5 seconds from our video.
Nice.
Um, and you know how many people have watched it? 2.
How many?
So.
Oh,
And you know what? I know who they. I think I know. Who they
Jackie
are,
and
so.
Pavlos.
That's right. Our super fans. And I haven't even. I've been bad at this
Mhm.
job. We should fire our social media coordinator.
Oh yeah.
Which is me, which is on LinkedIn. It's the only place I do it because,
Why do you post it on LinkedIn?
dude, why do you post on Blue Sky? Do you post on Blue Sky?
I don't even. I barely
Blueski?
read Blue Sky. Blue Ski.
Um,
Skeets.
oh, shut up. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm doing. I spent a lot of time on tech Twitter. I really enjoyed it, and it's dead. And that part of me is like
But why don't you post on?
ripped
Oh, you don't
out.
have. But wait,
and
you
it's gone.
you have a Mastodon.
Yeah, Mastodon is horrible. We've talked about this?
I mean,
I
horrible
hate
or
Mastodon.
not. I mean, LinkedIn's not horrible.
I like it better than Mastodon.
Like,
I
okay.
get more,
Okay.
I get more informative, enjoyable content out of that than I do out of Mastodon.
Wow. Okay.
Mastodon is like a bunch of nerds who found their corner of the nerd internet, and they can like lean into their weird nerdness and exclude everyone who doesn't belong to their cool nerd club, and then just bitch about everybody else.
Okay. Let's move on. What is
I'm not
what is the best thing about your daughter driving that you want to share?
What? Why are we going here?
Doesn't your daughter drive now? She's got
She
like a cop
does.
car.
What?
I don't know.
Actually, right now she has no car,
Hmm.
because our second vehicle is in the body shop, which I was not prepared for how long it takes a body shop to do work on your car.
Yeah, it's
But
not fast.
it's looking like 2 weeks right now. Um, so that's that's not my favorite thing. I came from volleyball
Hmm.
earlier with my other daughter, and my the head coach was late to practice because her daughter got rear-ended today, um, and so she's got to deal with a messed up car. Man, she's like, my body guy. Why do you have a body guy? She's like, because I've had my car stolen and like
What?
busted up multiple times. It may not surprise you. It is a Kia. I think it was a Kia.
Well, they're made with paper
Wait.
mache, so.
Yes, but also, this I may have just like accidentally stepped into something. Is I think it is the city of Milwaukee has a group known as the Kia Boys, a group of it's like a gang that steals Kias and Hyundais. Is this a thing that happens in other cities?
Huh. Kia Boys Milwaukee with a Z.
Yeah, just like two red dads. We didn't spell it with a Z, but we could.
Interesting. I did not. I had never heard of this.
Okay. Anyways, I mean they get stolen all the time here because I don't know. There's something with the starter that makes them really easy to steal, right? The ignition, something. Does that not happen in Minnesota?
A
That has to happen in
Milwaukee
Minnesota.
rapper talked about it, but it's happening all over the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you now.
Are you though? Or is that a known fact in where you live that like if you own a Kia or a Hyundai, it's going to get stolen?
No. I mean, I didn't know that.
It's a fact here. Like, it's just if you buy one of those cars, you're like, okay, I know this is going to happen.
Is it because of some particular detail of that kind of car?
It is, yeah. Like I said, I know from what I understand, there's some specific implementation with the ignition or something like that that makes them extremely easy to steal, and the auto manufacturers have like refused to do something that's supposedly pretty easy to like put some sort of like thing in it that'll block it from happening. I'm so naive, but like just enough to sound like I know what I'm talking about.
I'm convinced.
Yeah, thank you.
So it's not even about. So what I was expecting you to talk about was like maybe there's some part that's easy to take out of the car and it has a high resale value, but you're saying
No,
they're just easy to steal.
they
And
steal them
so,
and then they joyride with them.
ah,
Is basically
got
what
it.
happens, and crash them into a light pole or something. Um, Man, crime's way up. Am I right?
All right, JD Hicks.
Um, let's stop talking about that.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to talk about what your favorite programming language is?
It's the Elixir.
Hmm.
Why?
Did you get to do anything with Elixir after your marathon app?
No, I did not. I have not done anything with it. I would like to, but I have not. Um, you might be. I think you're. Are you heading towards what we're going to work on today?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. I think it's going to be JavaScript, not Elixir.
Oh.
Oh, we can maybe try it with Elixir, but I'll show you some reasons. We can maybe talk about some reasons why I think that that's not the case. But before we do that, we still have to talk about your travel dad signature.
Oh. Um, I am going on a short 4-night trip to Arizona this weekend. And then the following week on a Sunday, I leave for a 4-night trip to Berlin. And that's like a lot of travel for me.
You were headed to Berlin for
For an
artsy
artsy,
thing, right?
yeah,
That's pretty awesome.
yeah.
You're gonna be with like all your team and other teams.
They're
That's
bringing everybody
so
in
cool.
the product organization to Berlin because they ran the numbers, and that's like the cheapest place to bring everybody in
bring
terms of
everybody.
flights and hotels and whatever else.
Interesting.
and how many people are there already. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, that makes sense because like I mean, it used to be the case that everyone was in New York in the States, but that is probably not the case anymore.
Yeah, maybe the way the distribution works, there's like the scales have tipped, so to speak, and like the majority of folks are nowhere. And
Yeah.
so since they're pretty evenly split, yeah, I mean it's just that New
And
York is
New
so
York is
expensive.
expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean that's probably what it ends up coming
Yeah.
down to, that New York's so expensive. So many folks are already in Berlin. Let's just go there. But
Cool.
I'm excited. It is obviously a trip for me that involves a very long European flight. I fly through Iceland, and that's giving me all kinds of anxiety, but it'll be fine.
Anxious about Iceland specifically, or just a
The
layover,
connection.
or
Yeah, I have like a
yeah.
1 hour connection to get myself and my bag from one plane to another.
I use the word layover. Is that like an old grandpa word at this point? Because I feel like everybody says connection.
Hmm.
Should I not be using that word anymore?
I
Does
would
it
have
out me
used
as a
I
boomer?
would have used layover in that situation.
Okay, cool.
I could also be an old man.
It's possible. Um, are you looking forward to being in Berlin, though? Like getting there, being there?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a fast trip, and I'm not adding any on. I'm not gonna end up seeing all that much.
Yeah.
So it's I'm very blessed to be able to do this. Like whatever, I shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm just saying that mostly what I'm thinking about is how quick it is, how
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to adjust to the pretty serious time change, and like work, and there's gonna be some social activities where I'm gonna be like, I just want to go home and go to bed.
Yeah, I mean, and those people stay up until like 4 a.m. clubbing,
Yeah, isn't
and that's
Berlin
just
like a
not
big
normal.
clubbing town? I don't know.
It's like
This
the
is
clubbing town.
Yeah, this is not for me.
I think that you should definitely try to get into some clubs. I think that would be really fun for you. I'm trying to think, who are the people? Munir, does Munir still work there?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for the like sharing names, like he hasn't opted in to me sharing his name, but GDPR stuff, whatever. He that dude likes to party. Like he'll
Yeah.
take you places. You should get him to take you places.
Okay.
That's what
Yeah.
I know about Munir, for sure.
I think I'm going to like want to have a couple drinks after the day's festivities, and I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah. Can I make a dinner recommendation? And you
Oh.
you have to promise me that you're gonna do it.
Okay.
When I was last there, I was there right before I left Artsy, and I
Okay.
visited some Artsy people and hung out.
Forgot you did that.
Yeah, and Sarah and Rachel. Sorry for sharing names. Sarah and Rachel took me to a vegan restaurant called "The Future Is You," or "The Future Is Up to You," is what it was called. "The Future Is Up to You." It's like a weird name, but I had there a vegan crispy duck meal that I honestly still to this day remember as being probably the best meal that I've ever eaten in my life. It was amazing, amazing. So that's my suggestion, and you can ignore it, but I've
Future
recommended
is
this
up
to
to you.
everyone I know who's gone to Berlin. I don't know anyone that's been there to do it, but you should, because it was mind blowing how good this meal was.
All right, I got it searched up, as Jack would say.
Perfect. I think that Rachel still works there, but I don't think that Sarah does. Is that correct?
Yeah. And Rachel moved back to the United States.
Oh, she did. Cool. Neat. All these names, all these people. I shouldn't be sharing their names. That's awesome. Well, I hope you have a good trip,
Thank you.
and I'm excited to hear about it. And it probably means that we'll like skip the next episode, right? Because you'll be gone.
That's right. Yep, I'll be in Berlin for the next episode.
Perfect. We can do that. All right. Do you want to talk about computers?
Yes. What's your favorite computer?
I don't know what that means.
Hey, can I make a slight digression here?
My first computer was a VIC-20. If you
What?
know what that is.
No, no one's ever heard of
Don't
that.
even know what
Are you talking about? Are you talking about like a Dell?
No.
So, do you know that Rails World just happened in Toronto?
No.
And the benevolent dictator for life of the Rails framework,
Still?
THH.
I thought they ousted him.
Well, that's a whole other. I don't want to get into that right now. He did his keynote, and a big thrust of his keynote was like a reaction to actually how expensive cloud computing is compared
Yeah.
with like buying like Bayer servers and running your applications on Bayer servers, and just like how much of a markup Amazon
And
gets away
paying a
with,
person to maintain that and do all
and
that.
how much of a markup Heroku is. And one of the things he was saying is like one of the best pieces of tech marketing he's ever like noticed is how they convinced us that we can't do that stuff ourselves. Those are servers. Those computers, we can't mess with those servers. We need to pay someone to mess with those computers.
Yeah.
We mess with our computer, but we can't mess with those computers. I just thought
Sure.
that was an interesting take on how, yeah, I kind of have been persuaded that that's too hard for me. I should just work on
Yeah.
Ruby on Rails code.
I recall when I think he posted an article about this maybe 6 months ago, something like that, about how they were just like making that shift. What's the company that he works for?
37 signals?
37 Signals, yeah. How they were like making this shift of like, we're done paying people to host stuff. We're gonna start doing it ourselves, and like talking about just like the costs were astronomical to host in the cloud. So I'm like vaguely familiar with what you're saying. I also actually just read today an article on Forbes. Do I sound like I am like I should be wearing a suit and tie?
Yeah. You had your loafers on, right?
Yes. About to go head out on the yachts after this. I read an article on Forbes today that was like, the SaaS model is dead. Which was interesting. It was very like intentionally kind of provocative,
Inflammatory.
a little bit clickbaity, and there was honestly not a whole lot of substance to it other than people saying basically that like that this model of like this SaaS model is basically just like ridiculously expensive, and now especially with AI, people are going to start to solve all of those problems internally with AI solutions anyways. So they're not going to need 13 different SaaS providers to run a simple website. So I don't know. It's interesting to hear people say that. I don't really like the world that this article described, where everything is internal and we are just like we're like having AI build us apps to do things internally, or to solve problems internally, or like manipulate data or whatever internally. But also unpredictably, because it's AI driven. And honestly, that sounds like it sounds kind of boring as a developer to be like, oh yeah, I just like tell the things to build things for me. Which is maybe a little hypocritical of me, because like the last time we talked, I was like, oh yeah, GitHub Copilot basically built this app for me. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think, well, one thing I think is, like the choices I make for myself and like the technology I like to tinker with, like in my side projects or in my personal stuff, is pretty different from my day-to-day job. And like the choices I support the technologies I advocate for when I'm on the job versus when I'm just like wanting to do something for myself. I think like by definition they're different. So that's one thing. But like I've run a Heroku Rails app for 10 years or so, like in my personal life. At Artsy, we were like just coming off of Heroku when I joined in 2017. And but we're still on AWS. Like I mean, we're still
Yeah. It's
paying.
just somebody different.
The markup is, say 20x instead of 40x or whatever, like but if it like if Rails makes it easy for me to take my $25 a month Heroku bill and cut it down to $5 a month,
Yeah.
I would probably mess around with that. I
Yeah.
would certainly experiment with it. But my tolerance is very low in my personal life for messing around with this stuff.
Yeah.
Like I would trade some amount of money for not having to think about certain things.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's complicated.
Yeah, I will never run my own server like to do anything. I will always pay for personal stuff. There's no way I want to spend my time or effort doing that on like personal projects. There's really no way I want to do it at work either. Like during the day, that's not how I want to spend my time. I want to spend my time doing things that I think are interesting and solving problems. Like so much of the infrastructure side of things feels like solved problems where you're just like configuring things and like whatever. That's probably a really naive statement on my part. But yeah, I don't.
I mean, okay, how about this? The thing that was so like mind-blowing to me when Heroku came out was to deploy your app to production was a Git push.
Yeah.
Right? Like you just can't beat that developer experience. It's so sweet. It's such a good idea. It's such a nice focus on like what the developer experience is through that. And then we kind of built all kinds of abstractions around that.
Sure.
If I can have that same kind of DX and like they handle everything, like they meaning Rails handles the like all the stuff I don't care to know too much about, and so I can replicate that. But if I care to dig into XYZ component of it, it's all there because it's open source. That's kind of compelling.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like I've maybe drank the Kool-Aid a little bit, and I'm too brainwashed into thinking that something's going to go wrong, or things are going to happen that I don't want to deal with, and then I'm going to have to like dig into some weird low-level stuff that I just don't care about or that I'm not interested in. And so when I hear you describe that, like I would emphasize, for me, I would be okay in that situation if I had the good ergonomics of being able to just like whatever, commit and push and it deploys, which like if you have good platform engineers setting up CI and CD and doing all that stuff for you, that's fine with me. Like we can do all of it internally. I just don't want it to be me. I want it to be somebody else who deals with that crap because I don't have an interest in that stuff.
That's interesting.
I don't know. It is it'll be interesting to see how things change. I definitely do agree that things are going to change. It's the other part that I think is interesting is just like the money and like like big picture money of private equity and whatever else, all these shareholders that have all these cash cows and this like known or relatively known pattern for turning a little bit of money into a lot of money through a SaaS model or whatever, or through
PaaS.
PaaS. Any of that stuff, like how does it change that? Because you and I have been very spoiled for at least 15, 20 years, at least 15 years
Yeah.
with a job market that is just like, we will throw wheelbarrows of money at you to write code and help us make put this stupid fucking spreadsheet on the internet. Um, and I don't know. Does that change with all this? I'm sure it will. John, I'm depressed because we ended at capitalism, and that's depressing.
Would it help to tell you that there is an opportunity for you to improve your life by creating a system such that you hit a key combo and it goes right to the GitHub page you want to. It goes right to the whatever page you want to. You have the power to do that.
I do have the power to do that, and you're going to help me do it.
Uh-oh.
But we're still not going to talk about it because I forgot to talk about T-shirts. And part of the reason that I forgot to talk about T-shirts is because you're not wearing yours. So what I want to ask you a really quick question, John.
Yeah.
Can you check that X-Men sweatshirt of yours? Can you do me a favor and measure where the center of the print is relative to your armpits?
So my armpits are like here.
Oh, the armpits of the shirt, like where the sleeves are.
You want to do like that?
Yeah, like that. Does that feel like it about armpit is where the center of the print is?
Yeah, it does.
Roughly?
Yeah.
That's about... mine's a little bit... mine's a little bit different. Like, what am I
You have a different kind of design on you.
It's like...
But it's pretty close.
That's about center right there. Like
It's not far off. How about that?
It's not far off. So, I made us some merch. And John has a shirt. Actually, I also have a shirt, but I'm going to donate mine. I'm never going to wear it. Because Printful, I'm going to out them, printful.com, you are printing shirts incorrectly. Like, I just want to say that. The print starts at the armpits. Like, the top of the print is at the armpits, which means for me, it feels like it's on my belly. It is literally the only shirt that I own that feels like that. So I can tell you for certain that Printful is doing it wrong because I reached out to them and complained about it multiple times, and they're like, nope, that's expected. That's normal. Anyways, next time, maybe you'll see us in merch.
Let me just real quick. Google Chrome is requesting to bypass the system privacy window picker. Jesus Christ. How about allow for 1 month?
What?
Screen, this one. I'm sorry, Steve. This
Are you trying to share a screen?
I was just trying to show you.
It's a sweet shirt. I really like it.
Like this is about right in my mind. This is about where the
Yeah, I do think that
hits.
yours looks different than mine. Actually, now that I see it again. Because I see the armpit height, and it seems about right.
It's on.
Mine
it's
is
on
way
par.
low.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much to make it way low. Like, I used to print shirts in my basement, and I know that when you can just change it by like 2 inches and it feels stupid.
Yep.
Anyways, that's it. You want to program computers or what? We're like halfway done with this stupid stream.
Do you think anyone's watching anymore?
No, we have 0 viewers.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to do a little project intro, though. And so what I need to do is find my project. So give me a second. I have a lot of VS Code windows open right now. This is the first one that I'm going to need. John, you are familiar with Raycast?
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes, you are so right. Raycast is, among other things, an application launcher. So you might talk about it in the same set of applications as like Alfred or Quicksilver before that, and if you're a way old school Mac user. Yeah. But the thing about Raycast that is so nice, is so cool, is that they've really embraced the JavaScript ecosystem, and so you can do a lot of development in that ecosystem, and it's going to feel very at home for someone like Steve Hicks.
It's a very handy tool. I remember when I first started at Artsy, you were big into what's the one that you just said?
Alfred.
Alfred, at the time, and you tried to convince me that Alfred was the greatest thing ever, and I was like, oh, it's cool, but I don't want to pay for it. And so now, and then Raycast came along, and the fact that it was free, and like I don't know if the tool itself is open source, but all of the plugins are open source, so you can see how they're doing things, and you can build your own really easily. I think that that's really fun. So you can see my screen right now. Is that correct?
Heck yeah, again.
Okay, cool. What I want to do right now, I just have a project up right here. I'm going to show you one of the things that I like to do. So let me open up Edge here, and we'll just keep that in the background. I'm going to do this keystroke. I hit Alt G, which takes me into my go-to shortcut, and then I will do GH docs. And this will open my browser, and it's going to take me to the documentation project that I look at every single day in my day job. github.com/Camunda/Camunda-docs. Okay, great. That's so cool. I can also do like GitHub docs polls. I think I can do that. I might not be able to do this. Let's find out.
Oh,
Oops, I forgot to hit go to. GH docs polls. Yeah, takes me to now polls in there. Or I can
what kind of magic is this?
I know, right? GitHub docs issues. That'll take me to the issues URL. Or I can do something completely made up and say, go to what's something that you like. Name something that you like.
Rails.
Rails. And that'll take me to, it's a contemporary clothing brand for men and women. Did you know that?
I did not.
That'll take me to Google. Just search it for that. Anyways, okay. So what I have set up is basically a command or a script command. Is that what they call it in Raycast? Script command. I have a script command set up that runs this go-to script. That's all that it does, and it passes whatever argument is in there. So like go to whatever I type in here, that gets passed as the argument.
Yep.
Change tone to casual. That's fun. Dresses and rompers, if you're looking for a romper. Reaching across Illinois library system. Rails means a lot of different things. Steakhouse. Love it. Anyways, so how does it do this? I have this. So this is the script. This goto.sh that the script command calls and executes. And there's a whole bunch of comments. There's the shebang at the top that tells it what's in this script. But there's also all of these, they look like kind of documentation comments that describe this script. Most of it's nonsense. Like there's a title. That is what I think if I do this, that's what ends up here. That's how I get to this script, is by what's in the title. The mode is, if you'll notice when I do this and I say go to John Elired, keep your eye down here. It says gone to right there. Silence is that's there's like different modes that you can have Raycast output. In this case, sorry, the silent mode is basically it doesn't show anything except if you output something at the end, it'll just put that in that little bubble that's there.
Got it. Okay. I didn't know that.
But you can do other things like if we change this to what is it, full output, I think, full output, and then save this and then run it. What we'll see is Stephen Hicks. This is gonna be gross. Jeffrey Dahmer. If I go back, I'm surprised. Maybe it just didn't. Maybe it didn't update. I think I can change it on the fly like that, and the script will update. What I expected to see is output from the script in a little window instead of disappearing behind the scenes.
Got it.
So we can change that mode, and it'll do different things. And then optional parameters, I gave it an icon that's like a bow and arrow. Describe the first argument. And so that means that I actually don't know what that means. Who cares? And then just some meta information about this thing. I actually just added this today because I run this script on my work computer. I don't run it on my personal computer because I don't really check the docs projects, or like I don't use any of these links on my personal computer. And I struggled to get a shell that was logged in, even though I have -L, to have access to Node. Like it kept telling me that Node was not defined. So what I ended up doing is basically running the script that I have in my like Z shell RC or whatever.
Yeah.
I just copied it here. Like whatever. I don't really care. I just wanted to get it working.
Weird.
Ignore that. All this script does is it calls my goto.js, which we'll look at next, and then says gone to, noting that it passes in that argument to the goto.js script.
So do you use goto.js outside of this context? Why not?
I don't.
Like, why not put that in here?
Let's look at the goto.js,
Okay.
shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to look at this. We'll look at what's in Resolver. That's kind of some fun things. Parsing arguments, replacing query string stuff, that could all be done in a shell script pretty easily. And actually, I think you can make this a JavaScript. You can turn this into a goto.js and tell it to run in the context of Node instead of a shell script. Like, that's no problem. And maybe that is something that I could do to solve that. But the actual logic that I have is like kind of intensive, and I didn't want to write that in Bash or something. So the default URL is basically to search Google. Otherwise, we go to the resolver based on the arguments that you passed in, and then exec open. So this is just like as if you're in your terminal and you type open URL, it'll open that URL in a browser. So let's look at the resolver. I have lots of logic in here. I have where's my spec file? I have a spec file that has a whole bunch of tests in it that I actually don't know. I haven't run them recently, so I don't know if they still work.
Would you be able to open like a file drawer so I can kind of understand how
Yeah.
these files relate to each other?
Yep, everything's in the root. That's maybe sloppiness on my part, but I do have a spec there that I can run some tests on. So if something exists, or sorry, if the resolver exists, whatever, that's a dumb test. That's a TDD test. Describe misses. So if these are things that I don't have rules for, then I expect the results to be undefined. And then the hits, these are things that I expect to be able to search for. So GH PRs, GH polls, GH docs, and then GH me, StephenHicks.me. That should take me to my... So GH me would take me to my personal GitHub page. Me, StephenHicks.me would take me to my personal GitHub in this repo, in this project.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then GH me, StephenHicks.me polls, chaining all this stuff together so that I'm actually going to the polls, etc. So there's a lot of logic here that I wanted to be able to test in JavaScript. And then, the resolver. We kind of looked at the resolver very briefly.
What's this translation map?
Yeah, that's the magic. That's honestly the magic. So the resolver does this split on spaces based on the query, and then it does some. It might even do some recursive stuff here. I don't even know. No, it doesn't. It's not recursive. Though if we did it in Elixir, it could totally be recursive. Anyways, so if I do like whatever, let's look at the translation map. That's going to be nope. I'm sorry, not translation map. Translation map is how I handle misspellings. Like I used to have this one that when I was at Artsy, I would do all the time. There's a project named Metaphysics, and I always called it Meat Physics. So this is just like translating from one.
Got it.
A spelling error, or when I call it this, what I really mean is tasks.
Okay.
URL map is the one that's the magic. This is where I have this JSON object that kind of does some what I think are interesting things. Hopefully there's nothing secret in here that matters. But if we look at like GH, stands for GitHub. I have some wildcard rules that are in here, such that if I just do GH, it goes to github.com. If I do GH something that's not known, I send it to the Camunda org, because that's usually what I'm looking for, and then just whatever the argument was. Two things that I don't know, then it's Camunda, the first argument / the second argument.
Got it.
And then for something like the docs, so if I did GH space docs, that takes me to the URL that we saw. GH space docs space something else. That just appends that last argument to the URL.
That's maybe how you got to polls and issues or something?
That's how I got to polls and issues, was through this one. And then this is one that's just like a hard-coded known thing. If I do GH docs board, that's where I want to go. Although I also have that here, and GH board, which is the one that I actually use more often. Anyways, this is just like this JSON structure that has some interesting rules about wildcards to try to direct things to the correct place. And yeah, this is like what I do with this file is well, that's not true. Like I said, I don't have this installed on didn't have this installed on my personal computer until today. But the idea is, because I have this JSON file, that it's portable and I can use it on any computer that I want. And if I wanted to, I could just like create one and then send it to myself over Slack and use it on a different computer.
Sure.
Which is how I also handled the other project that we worked on that was based on JSON, which was the browser tab, new page tab.
You're doing a good job.
You're doing a good job. So that's what I have, and it works fine. But I'll tell you right now that I didn't remember that this shortcut existed. Nor did I remember that this shortcut existed, or like if I'm not using it consistently, I forget that it exists, and some of them are useful. Like GCP is useful sometimes. So what I would prefer is if this was a more proper Raycast app. So if I can think of something, I mean, if I get to do define word, and then I do, so as soon as I pull up define word, you can see that I'm an idiot and I look up these words.
What does mine look like?
Like dog.
Anonymous and duplicate. So let's just say that.
Anyways, so this is one thing that's cool right here. Recent words. I'd love to see like recent
That's a great
go-tos.
Yep.
Or I'd like to be able to type like, okay, if I do like GH, then here are recommendations. I'd love to see like recommendations that I already have defined. Like, oh, do you mean GH docs? Because that's the one that you use the most often. Or do you mean GH board? Because you use that one pretty often too. Or GH polls. And so I think in order to do that, I need to build it out more as a Raycast app instead of just an individual script. Which is probably just a Raycast app, but I don't really know too much about it. So, which is probably just a script. Anyways, that's what I want to do. Does it make sense, what I've described so far? And do you have any questions?
Maybe some more questions will come out around like, what you want the interface to be like, but I understand the general idea. I've built something similar.
Yeah.
But I too sometimes forget. Like I didn't get to autocomplete. I didn't get to recents, those kinds of things. So I'm definitely interested in this idea.
Okay, cool. So this is the project, and if I could just make some notes about some things that I'd like to solve with it. First thing would be, I would like to see this is going to be very quick. I'd like to see my most recent submissions. I would like to see my most common submissions is, I think, an interesting thing. Like if there's ones that I use more frequently. I do think it would be nice to be able to add submissions, or add rules rather, through the UI, through Raycast. I do think it would be interesting to import and export my set of rules instead of having them all hard coded. Like this is
Or
hard
how about
coded in
sync rules
this
between
project.
machines?
Or sync rules.
Sure. Or like
I'm
what
doing
what
it
are the
that
pros
way.
and cons about these different approaches?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
about that?
Yeah, for sure. Can you talk a little bit about how you? This is too far into the weeds, but like, can you maybe give some examples of how you think we could synchronize things in a relatively simple way that doesn't cost money?
I mean, the short answer is I'm not sure. But
Like Git, like synchronize it through Git, push it to a repo or something on GitHub, or like a gist.
yeah, I mean, one thing I often struggle with Raycast is, should I like what's the boundary between what's like Raycast and what's a tool on my machine? So for example, you have a go to Raycast project here that includes a go to sh. Like that is squarely in my mind Raycast territory. But then
Yes.
go to JS really could be on GitHub and could be abstracted into like you could execute that from Raycast, or you could execute that from the command line, or any
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess all I'm saying is there's like some boundary there that could be explored.
Yeah, definitely. Just this is maybe not exactly what you're saying, but the cool thing about the way that this is architected, and this is probably more a shout out to Raycast than anything I did, is just I can run this in my terminal. I can run this shell script and say like, go to sh, I don't know, teenage. Let's just do tmnt. Because I'm not in the right place. Let's oops. Oh geez, I'm just like fumbling, hitting a bunch of keystrokes. So like go to sh, go to sh,
TMNT.
and now you can't see this, but this opened up in my browser that I had off screen.
Nice.
So I can
Okay.
just do this
So
in my
this
terminal,
I like.
which is great. Yeah.
This feels connected to the concepts we've learned for many years around the Unix philosophy of like small tools that do one thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
this-
and I think that
is-
this is really like a shout out to Raycast for sure, like for having you develop these things in a way where you can just reuse them wherever you want.
Yeah.
Bravo.
So it's possible that the way to sync between machines is by having Raycast interact with some tool that's being synced because it's on GitHub, or like, I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah,
also
and-
pay for Raycast features that include syncing, so it's possible. What I'm really talking about
Oh,
is
for real?
like, I just don't know.
Can you sync like data?
I don't know. What am I, a Raycast doctor? Let's see.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing. Like,
Yeah, Cloud Sync. Like, there's Cloud Sync features in Raycast.
what?
So, for example, my
have
search
browser.
history
I
in
should use it.
Raycast, my hotkeys, like all that stuff is my snippets. That's all syncing between machines.
Your snippets are okay. And then is the data? Well, the snippets are the data, so that should be syncing. That's interesting. How much does it cost?
I mean, look, I
You just throw money willy nilly at like whatever.
yeah. One thing you know about me,
Free Pro and Team Pro. Trying to find.
I'm subscribed to the Raycast Pro on the $96 yearly plan.
Jesus, that's a lot of lattes, John.
I literally use Raycast
I know.
so much. Like,
Ye-
this is a bargain for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna consider it. I'm definitely
Okay.
going to consider
Okay.
it. Because it does like make then it's, I mean, there might be something that we need to do in the, I would guess that there's probably something that we need to do in the goto shell script with like all this configuration stuff here.
Mm.
Maybe there's something we need to opt into here that says like, synchronize, data associated with it. But it also does, look at that funny character right there. It does also suggest that what I'm doing with this translation, I'm sorry, URL map.js in this location is like not actually, wouldn't actually work for that, right? Like it would have to be, I don't know. I don't know. I'll stop talking. Interesting.
Yeah. So let's go back here.
Via Raycast Pro. Sync rules via something else like Git.
Sure.
Okay. What else would I like to be able to do?
Autocomplete.
View rules. Autocompletes. Let's where that fits. That's pretty high up. I bet that's here. Autocomplete.
Because I have been able. So my approach to some of this is hit a hotkey combo, get a prompt in Raycast, and then I have to correctly type metaphysics to use your example.
Or meat physics.
Why is that not auto-completing for me when clearly Raycast has autocomplete features all over the place, and that's like a killer feature.
Yeah, so I think that what we can do is we can build this thing in a way where we solve that autocomplete problem first, and that, because that's probably which of these two, which one do you think is easier to do? I want to do the easy one first because I want us to make progress. I don't want to feel like we're stuck.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Is there something simpler that
So,
you can
but
think
there's
of that would
there's like a leap
flop
in
everything
your
here?
current Raycast app or whatever to be able to do kind of like a lot of these things where it's like your mode's wrong is what I'm trying to say. And you kind of alluded to this earlier when you were describing some of those things. When you type define and then like pick that is the Raycast app you are trying to interact with, then you sort of like shift screens into another.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, until we get there, I don't see how any of these things are going to really work.
I think we're really close to that. I'm just gonna talk for a little bit and tell me to stop. But
We got 5 minutes, just so you know.
Oh shit! What happened?
I don't know.
Oh, we're not ready.
Okay,
to go
so
today.
if you use your mouse right now and you click go to, yeah, so you're still in like the initial Raycast interface, and now you're almost doing like a substitution command. When I type in this next shortcode bit, that is the argument that goes to that shell script, and then something happens. When you press this, yeah, like you're in a different screen now. And
Okay.
so I think there's like a I'm not saying it's a monumental leap. I'm just saying there is a leap there that we need to better understand.
Yep. So I think see some suggestions. So I think what we start with is like let's bounce into the mode where I am in this correct mode, where I'm now in my go-to, and I see something listed there that I can like go down and pick.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's something good or bad or something that I use or I don't use. Just like let's get some things listed there. We can down button, enter, and it'll go there. Does that make sense?
Yes, I like this idea.
Okay. So once we've done that, then we're in the right mode and we've got the ability to like make suggestions. Then I don't think it matters which of these three. Like I think it's just, you know, this one is almost this one but hard coded. Okay, that feels right. What else?
Um, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. This is good enough for me. So this is kind of, I think, where we're headed. And do you think that we should start with what I have, or do you think we should start from scratch?
I mean, it might be good to. I don't know. Like, I think we're going to like look at the docs and try to figure out what we mean when we say switch up the mode,
Yep.
and then that might lead us down one or the other direction.
Yep. Yeah, and I actually think I think that the best thing for us to do is start from scratch, and then we can use this project as a reference. When we get to something that makes sense, we can take a look at it and maybe copy code over.
Okay.
But we don't have to. We don't have to start with what's here and then morph it, because I just don't know if what's here is useful.
Got it.
I think the resolver might be the most useful thing, but that also assumes that this JSON format is the best format to store all this information in, and we might find that that's not the case. Like, maybe there's some sort of data structure supported by Raycast, like some almost like not DSL, but like some specific JSON shape that makes sense in Raycast that I'm not doing, and I'd like to wait and find that out rather than like start with what I have. So next time we're here, we're going to like start a new Raycast app, and we're going to see some suggestions from the app.
Can you do me a favor and go to your Raycast settings?
Yep.
Oops.
I don't think I can make this bigger.
And then go to extensions. So I guess, like, can I share screen for a second?
Yeah, please. I'll stop. All yours. It's a
boy.
picture of you in a cool t-shirt.
Let's go back over here. When I go to so I made a thing, and I'm like kind of just remembering this. So it goes like this. I hit hyper P, or is it turbo? I think it's hyper P.
I don't know what those
And this
keystrokes
is like
mean.
list of artsy projects.
Yep.
And then each project. So like, I could also go here and go artsy projects, and then get in there. So I've like, so
Yep.
like this is like kind of like when you go to define, or like when you type define and then go into define, and then I have these different things. And when I'm on one, then I have these different URLs I might go to,
And you have links to all of them.
and I have like GitHub is hitting enter, and hitting command enter goes to Circle CI.
That's cool.
But I'm kind of like, I'm kind of like forgetting that I even had, like, Steve, I never even used this. I sort of forgot I had it. Okay, so now if I hit, I don't know, P, so it's even doing autocomplete.
It's What is this?
But
Did
like,
you build
okay,
this?
yeah, I made this. Okay, so now if I go back over,
You've done all the
here-
work. for
Oh
me.
shit! So if I go here and I go to settings, and I go to extensions, so this Archie step, like, look how it has this little drive icon here.
Yep.
So this is like a local extension.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get into it? So if I go to-
That's a good question. So there's a definite difference between script commands, and proper plugins or extensions.
Artsy Staff Raycast extension. I bet that's what it is.
Jeez, did you do this while you were stoned or sleeping?
Oh,
Possibly
Steven.
both.
What am I supposed to
Answer
remember?
is
Everything I do? Huh. Well, that's TS. Well, look at me.
Can you make this bigger? I can. The colors are hideous, but if you
The
make
colors
it bigger, I might be
are
able to read it.
100% hideous. That's totally true.
I thought you were gonna say the colors are awesome.
Huh.
Yep. Preferences. Man, this is
Wow.
amazing. You did a lot of work here.
Okay, I think maybe I have some
Got
homework
dev
to do
dependencies. Whew.
where I
We just changed the name of it, and I'm
show
done.
you this thing I made.
But I think that sounds good. But I'm gonna add that to next my notes about next stream. That's the first thing. John, show me the artsy extension you built. That
I
does
built and somehow
everything I want
blacked
to
out.
do. We're gonna get this done in one episode. Just kidding. I know us.
JK, lol.
Yep. All right, John. Our time is probably up. Our 0 viewers are probably very sleepy.
Let's
they
let
need
them
some
go to bed.
rest. Let's
Yep.
let them go to bed. Let's let each other go to bed. And I'm gonna end this stream. All right. I love you.
Love you too. Bye.